Victoria was born with a face so stunning that it was lethal. From the instant she arrived, something bizarre occurred. Everyone at the hospital who laid eyes on her perished immediately. The doctors, nurses, and even visitors who wandered too close all collapsed lifelessly. The only ones spared were her parents, who adored her, yet feared the curse she bore. As Victoria matured, her parents understood they must shield both her from the world and the world from her. Her mother chose to homeschool her, ensuring she stayed isolated. Victoria was brilliant, exceptionally so. She absorbed knowledge swiftly, devouring books and excelling in mathematics with ease. However, despite her intelligence, she was lonely. She had no friends and never played outdoors like other kids. She could never allow anyone to glimpse her face. Upon turning 18, her parents knew they could no longer keep her hidden and enrolled her in university. To safeguard others, she wrapped her face in cloth, concealing her beauty. Only her eyes peeked through the thick layers. She remained vigilant, ensuring no one ever saw her true appearance. At university, Victoria gained a reputation for her intellect. She dominated exams, finished assignments ahead of time, and earned constant praise from professors. Yet, she was indifferent to recognition. Her sole focus was avoiding harm to others. Despite her abilities, some students were perplexed by her constant face covering. Rumors spread quickly. Some speculated she had scars, others thought she was just odd. One of the most vocal was Bella, the resident bully. Bella loved attention, always flaunting herself and belittling others. Victoria became her favorite target. One day, Bella strode up to Victoria in front of a crowd. "Hey, Victoria, why do you always cover your face? Hiding something ugly under there?" Bella sneered, folding her arms. Laughter rippled through the onlookers as they waited for Victoria's reaction. She remained calm, her gaze locked onto Bella. After a brief silence, she finally responded, "I doubt you'd want to see my real face." Bella chuckled. "Oh, come on! If you're not ugly, prove it! Show us!" Victoria shook her head, her tone firm. "Trust me, you don't want to see." But Bella was relentless. Every day she tormented Victoria. "If you're not afraid, take that cloth." "Off!" she taunted, urging the students to laugh along. Victoria ignored them. She understood the risks. She wouldn't let anyone suffer because of her. One afternoon, as Victoria headed to class, Bella blocked her path. "Today's the day," Bella declared, eyes gleaming mischievously. "You're going to show everyone. If you're not ugly, prove it." Curious students gathered around. Victoria studied Bella for a moment before speaking softly. "If I reveal my face, it won't end well for you." Bella rolled her eyes. "Sure, whatever. You're just scared." Victoria inhaled deeply. She had no intention of harming anyone, but she was exhausted from the constant ridicule. She stepped closer to Bella and murmured, "You think I hide because I'm ashamed? You're mistaken. I hide to protect you." The crowd fell silent. Bella's smirk wavered, but she refused to back down. "I don't need your protection. Take it off or admit you're a coward." Victoria's heart pounded. She longed to explain that her face wasn't just beautiful, it was fatal. But she knew Bella wouldn't believe her. Instead, she turned away, unwilling to give in. As time passed, Bella continued mocking her. "You're just scared of judgment," she jeered. But Victoria refused to react, focusing on her studies. Still, whispers among the students grew louder. "Why won't she show her face? Do you think there's something wrong with her? Maybe she's cursed." Among them was Joshua, one of the most handsome boys on campus. Nearly every girl admired him. He was charming, confident, and widely popular. But Joshua had no interest in settling down. He relished the attention. Bella, always scheming, devised a new plan and approached him during lunch. Flipping her hair and flashing a sweet smile, she sat beside him. "Joshua," she cooed, "I need a favor." Joshua arched a brow. "What now, Bella? Another one of your tricks?" Bella grinned. "Oh, this one's genius. It's about that weird girl, Victoria. You know, the one who always covers her face?" Joshua nodded. "Yeah, I've seen her. What about her?" Leaning in, Bella's voice brimmed with excitement. "I want you to befriend her, gain her trust. Then, when she falls asleep, drug her so she sleeps deeper. Remove her face cover and snap a picture. Send it to me and I'll handle the rest." Joshua frowned. "Why do you care? She's not bothering anyone." Bella rolled her eyes. "She acts like she's above us, hiding as if she's some mystery. I bet she's hideous. I want to expose her." Joshua hesitated. He wasn't fond of Bella's cruel games, and this felt especially wrong. But Bella was persuasive, difficult to refuse. She had a way of making people comply. Reluctantly, Joshua agreed. He assumed it would be easy to get close to Victoria. She was quiet and lacked friends. He started by sitting near her in lectures, pretending to be interested in the professor's teachings. At first, Victoria barely noticed him. She was accustomed to being either ignored or ridiculed. Joshua was either ignoring her or making fun of her from afar. But he was different from the rest. He never mocked or laughed at her like the others. Instead, he always gave her a warm smile, which made Victoria suspicious. One day, he sat beside her in the library. "Hey," he greeted in a friendly tone. "You're Victoria, right?" Victoria looked up, her eyes barely visible through the fabric covering her face. "Yes," she responded slowly. "Is there a problem?" Joshua leaned back in his chair, trying to sound casual. "I've noticed you around. You seem different. Thought we could be friends." Victoria frowned. No one ever wanted to be her friend. Most people either ignored her or had cruel words to say. "Why would you want to be friends with someone like me?" she questioned. Joshua chuckled softly. "Why not? You're smart and don't just follow the crowd. That's pretty cool." Victoria stayed silent. She didn't trust him, yet he wasn't acting like the others. He wasn't ridiculing her or making her feel unwelcome. Still, she kept her guard. Up over the next few days, Joshua continued trying. He would sit next to her in lectures, walk beside her after class, and bring her little treats, sometimes a candy bar, sometimes a juice bottle. Slowly, Victoria started to let her walls down. She began sharing her love for books and her deep interest in science. For the first time, she felt like someone was actually listening to her. One evening, Joshua suggested they study together in her room. "You're really brilliant, Victoria," he said with a grin. "I could use some help with these assignments." Victoria hesitated, but then agreed. Maybe, just maybe, she had finally found a real friend. When Joshua arrived, she even made him tea as a kind gesture. Joshua smiled as he took the cup, but inside, his pocket was a small packet. Bella had given him a sleeping powder. While Victoria turned away to grab a book, he quickly emptied the powder into her tea. "Here," he said, handing her the cup. "You deserve a break." Victoria smiled behind her, cloth, and took a sip. They continued talking, but soon her eyelids grew heavy. "I think I'm getting sleepy," she murmured, yawning. Joshua nodded, faking concern. "You've been working so hard. Get some rest. I'll pack up and go." Victoria lay down on her bed, still holding on to the hope that she had finally made a friend. Within minutes, she drifted into deep sleep. Joshua waited, making sure she wouldn't wake up. His hands trembled slightly as he approached her bed. A sense of guilt crept over him. Victoria had only ever been kind to him, but Bella's words echoed in his head. Take off her face cover and get a picture. Slowly, he reached forward, untying the fabric. With each knot he loosened, his heartbeat quickened. Finally, the cloth slipped away, and he froze. Victoria's face was unlike anything he had ever imagined. She wasn't ugly. Far from it. Her beauty was unearthly, almost hypnotic. It wasn't just about how she looked. There was something beyond words, something overpowering about her face. Before he could process it, a wave of darkness crashed over him. His chest tightened, his vision blurred, and his legs gave out. He gasped for air, but it was no use. The sheer intensity of her beauty was unbearable. Within seconds, Joshua collapsed to the floor, lifeless. A few minutes later, Victoria woke up, feeling groggy. She sat up and immediately noticed her face covering on the ground. Her heart sank. Looking around, she spotted Joshua's unmoving body. His eyes were open, but there was no life in them. "Joshua?" she whispered, crawling toward him. She shook his shoulder, but he didn't respond. Panic filled her chest as she realized what had happened. He had seen her face, and now he was dead. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she hurriedly wrapped the cloth back over her head. "Why did you do this, Joshua? Why didn't you listen?" she sobbed. The commotion attracted the attention of students nearby. Someone opened her door, saw Joshua's motionless body, and screamed. Security was called, followed by the police. When the officers arrived, they found Victoria sitting beside him, her face hidden once more. "What happened here?" an officer demanded. Victoria's voice trembled as she answered, "He saw my face. That's all it takes." The police exchanged glances. "Are you saying you didn't harm him intentionally?" After speaking with her parents and piecing the situation together, they reached a conclusion. "This isn't murder," one officer whispered to another. "She's not doing this on purpose. It's something else." That night, Victoria was released. Her parents held her close. "I don't want to hurt anyone else," she whispered. "Maybe I should just disappear forever." Her mother sat beside her. "You can't run from life, sweetheart," she said softly. "I know you're scared, but you've worked too hard to give up now." Victoria looked down, feeling like her world was crumbling. "But Mom, it's so difficult. People stare at me. They don't understand. What if someone else sees my face and something terrible happens again?" Her mother gently took her hand. "I know it's frightening, my love, but you can't let fear define you. You need to finish school for yourself. Don't let fear decide your fate. People will always talk, they'll always watch, but that doesn't change who you are. You are strong. You have so much to offer the world." Victoria wiped away her tears. "And Bella? She always tries to make me feel worthless. She's bullied me for so long. How do I deal with her?" "Mind your own matters, Victoria. There will always be people like Bella who try to tear others down, but you don't have to let them. Don't pay attention to what bullies say. Keep your focus on your own journey and stay committed to your ambitions. You are the author of your own story." Victoria slowly nodded, contemplating her mother's advice. It wouldn't be simple, but she had to make the effort. "I'll try, Mom. I don't want to keep hiding." Her mother embraced her warmly. "That's my girl. You're capable of anything you set your mind to. I'll support you every step of the way." The next morning, Victoria arrived at school feeling uneasy yet resolute. She had decided to disregard the bullies and concentrate on her education. As she made her way through the corridors, she kept her head lowered and hurried to her first class. But upon entering the library, she noticed Bella seated with a circle of girls. Bella quickly caught sight of her and rose, striding toward Victoria. Well, look who's here, the ugly murderer," Bella sneered, staring at Victoria. "Did your wealthy parents pay off the police to free you? That must be the only reason you're not in prison. You're just a monster hiding under that fabric." Victoria's chest tightened. She had expected this, but it still stung. She attempted to brush past Bella, but Bella wasn't finished. "You think? You're special just because your parents have money, don't you?" Bella continued. "You're fortunate they're rich. Otherwise, you'd be locked up for murder by now. You're nothing but a freak." Anger simmered within Victoria, but instead of avoiding conflict, she halted and faced Bella. "At least I'm not like you," Victoria stated firmly. "You've been with nearly every attractive guy in this school just for attention. What does that make you, huh? You're the real embarrassment here." Bella's cheeks flushed with anger. "It's none of your concern who I date. Do you think I care about your judgment? I adore handsome men. Whenever I spot one, I make sure. He's mine. You should feel ashamed, always hiding like a coward." Victoria remained composed. "I'm not ashamed of myself, but you should be. Instead of prioritizing your studies, you've been in this school for years without graduating. Maybe if you spent more time learning and less time chasing boys, you might actually finish." For a moment, Bella was speechless. Then she scoffed. "You're just envious because I'm admired, and you're a nobody." Victoria shook her head. "I don't envy you, Bella. I'm dedicated to my future, something you should think about for once." Bella had no further retort, so she spun around and rejoined her friends. Victoria stood in place, her heart pounding. She had defended herself, spoken her mind, and it felt empowering. A week later, an exceptionally handsome guy named Dennis transferred to the school. As soon as he stepped onto campus, the girls couldn't stop whispering about his looks. His tall stature, confident demeanor, and warm smile made him stand out from the crowd. Victoria overheard murmurs about him while walking through the hallways. Many girls were mesmerized, and some were already fantasizing about him. The moment Bella saw him, her eyes gleamed. She instantly knew she wanted him. Turning to her friends, she declared, "I have to have him. He's absolutely perfect." Some of her friends nodded in agreement, but others rolled their eyes, weary of Bella's relentless pursuit of attention and her tendency to chase after any good-looking guy she saw. The following day, Bella, looking determined, confidently approached Dennis in the hallway, her friends trailing behind her, whispering excitedly. "Hey, Dennis," Bella purred, her tone sugary. "I noticed you're new here. How about we become friends? I can help you settle in and show you around." Dennis didn't even acknowledge her. He kept walking, entirely ignoring her presence. Bella's smile wavered, and her friends snickered behind her. They were astonished. Bella had actually been brushed off. She halted, her face slightly flushed with embarrassment. "He's just playing hard to get," she muttered under her breath. "Don't worry, I'll have him soon." This is how men act at first. They pretend they're indifferent, but deep down they're interested. Her friends exchanged skeptical glances. They had witnessed this pattern before. Bella always believed she could win over any guy, but sometimes things didn't go according to her plans. "I'm not giving up," Bella insisted, her voice brimming with confidence. "I know exactly what I'm doing. And if he won't come to me, I'll make sure he does. I'll use my wealth to lure him in. Judging by his appearance, he doesn't seem to be from a rich family," she smirked. "I bet if I offer him everything he desires, he'll change his mind about me." Her friends cast doubtful looks, but remained silent. They were all too familiar with Bella's tactics and secretly wondered if she would succeed this time. Bella was never one to back down easily, especially when she set her sights on something or someone. Meanwhile, Dennis was gradually growing fond of Victoria. He admired her kind nature and intelligence. She treated everyone with warmth, and her sharp mind fascinated him. He loved their conversations during breaks, and over time their bond deepened. Victoria enjoyed helping him with assignments, and Dennis appreciated how effortlessly she explained things. The more he learned about her, the more he respected her. However, Not everyone was pleased with their budding friendship. Dennis's friends noticed how much time he was spending with Victoria and how he was drifting away from them. They didn't understand his interest in her, particularly since she was somewhat of an outsider at school. They warned him to steer clear of her, insisting she wasn't the right kind of person to associate with. But Dennis disregarded their concerns. He genuinely liked Victoria, and that was all that mattered to him. When Bella discovered Dennis and Victoria had become close, she was livid. She couldn't accept that Dennis, the attractive guy she had desperately pursued, was now interested in the one person she despised the most. Blinded by jealousy, she stormed toward Victoria. "You really think you're clever, don't you?" Bella hissed, standing before Victoria. "You're a witch using your tricks to steal my man away from me?" Victoria burst into laughter, shaking her head. "Who's your man?" she questioned. "Someone who doesn't even acknowledge your existence? Keep dreaming, loser." She folded her arms, glaring at Bella. "Just so you—" "No, Dennis and I are only friends. We're not together and never will be." Bella's cheeks flushed red with rage. "Don't act superior to me," she sneered. "You don't even belong here. You're nothing more than a freak hiding behind that fabric." Victoria stood firm, unbothered, staring straight into Bella's eyes. "I didn't come here to play around or chase after relationships," she stated smoothly. "I came to study, unlike you, who wastes all her time trying to charm boys and seek attention. You're the most foolish girl I've ever known." Bella's eyes widened in shock. She never imagined Victoria would defy her like this. She was used to forcing others into submission, but now Victoria was confronting her. "You'll pay for this," Bella warned. "You think you're flawless, but you're not. I will ensure you regret crossing me." Victoria didn't even blink. "Do your worst, Bella," she said indifferently. "You don't intimidate me." Bella glowered at her, realizing her usual scare tactics were failing. Annoyed, she turned and stomped away, leaving Victoria standing tall. That evening, as Victoria arrived home, mixed emotions swirled within her. She felt pride for standing her ground, but a shadow of doubt remained. She headed straight to her room, dropping onto her bed. Her mother was in the kitchen preparing food, and Victoria knew this was the right moment to talk. After a brief pause, she stepped into the kitchen and sat at the table. Her mother looked up with a warm smile. "How was your day, dear?" Victoria sighed and hesitated before speaking. "Mom, graduation is close, and I've been thinking a lot. I want to look beautiful that day, elegant, with nice makeup. Just once. I don't want to conceal my face anymore. I'm tired of hiding. It's been so long, and I just want to feel normal, like everyone else." Her mother's smile faltered slightly as she listened. "I understand, Victoria, but we've discussed this before, haven't we?" Victoria nodded. "Yes, I know, but I feel like I can't keep running from this. I want to live freely. I don't want to keep concealing myself." Her mother softly grasped her hand. "Do you remember what the prophet told us years ago?" A tight knot formed in Victoria's stomach. She had tried to suppress those words, but they always returned. "Yes, Mom. The prophet said the curse will only lift when I find someone who truly loves me, someone who sees me for who I really am, not for any other reason. But that means waiting for someone to love me. And I can't control that. I can't force love." Victoria's heart sank. "But what if no one ever loves me? What if I end up alone forever?" Tears threatened to fall, but she fought them back. Her mother pulled her close, embracing her warmly. "Don't be upset, my dear. This isn't something you can rush. The right person will come when the time is right. Until then, focus on what's important, your education, your future. Love isn't something you need to stress about right now. Victoria found solace in her mother's words, yet a part of her remained uneasy. She had been prioritizing her academics, setting aside thoughts of romance and relationships. But deep inside, she longed for a life where she didn't have to remain hidden. She wished to be recognized for who she truly was, not merely for the curse she carried. Letting out a sigh, she glanced up at her mother. I don't want to live like this forever, constantly hiding from everyone. There's someone at school, though. His name is Dennis. He's only a friend. We chat sometimes, and he's really nice. But I know I can't be more than a friend to him. I can't allow anyone to get too close to me, not with this curse looming over me. Her mother gave a gentle smile. I'm happy you have a friend like Dennis. Having people who care about you is important. But remember, your friendship with him doesn't have to turn into anything else. You need to prioritize yourself, Victoria. Don't let anyone push you into something you're not ready for. Victoria nodded, yet her mind remained unsettled. But Bella, she's always after me, always trying to make me feel insignificant. She constantly talks about Dennis, acting like he belongs to her. I don't even want to entertain her drama, yet she keeps stirring trouble over a boy. Her mother chuckled softly. Bella doesn't truly understand you, Victoria. She's always seeking attention in all the wrong ways. Don't let her negativity pull you down. You are far more valuable than anything she could ever offer. Victoria smiled faintly. I know, Mom, but sometimes I just wish life were simpler. I wish I didn't have to cover my face, that people could see the real me. Her mother gazed at her warmly. You are perfect just as you are, Victoria. You don't need anyone's validation to find happiness, and when the time is right, when the right person enters your life, they will love you for who you truly are. School, the hostility between Bella and Victoria had escalated. Bella was determined to have the final word, especially after Dennis rejected her and Victoria started earning more respect from students. But Bella couldn't accept that. She spotted Victoria near the cafeteria, peacefully reading a book, minding her own business, surrounded by her usual group of friends. With her usual posse behind her, Bella strutted over, eager to cause a scene. "Madame, face cover!" Bella shouted loudly, capturing the attention of everyone around. "Graduation is just 2 weeks away. Are you still going to keep hiding your hideous face under that rag? Or will you finally let us see what's underneath? Or are you scared the whole school will pass out from the shock?" Victoria slowly lifted her gaze, unbothered as ever. She shut her book and rose to her feet, meeting Bella's furious stare with a piercing glare of her own. Students. As students sensed another dramatic scene unfolding, they started gathering around. Victoria smirked slightly, crossing her arms. Thank goodness graduation is finally here. After all these years, Bella, you're finally leaving this school. I was beginning to think you planned on living here forever. The crowd erupted in laughter. Bella's face turned scarlet, but Victoria wasn't finished yet. "Let me guess," Victoria went on, "you must have slept with half the lecturers to reach this point. That's the only way someone like you could finally be graduating after being here since prehistoric times." The students roared with louder laughter. Bella's mouth fell open in shock, but before she could respond, Victoria lifted a finger, silencing her. "And don't act like you're some rich heiress, Bella. Everyone here knows your parents are struggling in a tiny village while you put on this fake persona." Bella's friends exchanged uncomfortable glances, whispering among themselves. Victoria took a step forward, her tone calm but piercing. "Oh, and let's not forget," Victoria added, "your so-called lavish lifestyle. Everyone knows you've been sleeping with sugar daddies to fund it. You're nothing but a fraud. A poor girl pretending to be rich, bullying others to cover up your insecurities. Pathetic." The students lost control, their laughter becoming deafening. Some whispered about Bella's sugar daddy scandals while others recorded the scene on their phones. Bella's eyes burned with angry tears. "You don't know what you're talking about," she screamed. "You think you're better than me just because of that face cover? You're nothing, Victoria, nothing." Victoria shrugged. "If I'm nothing, then what does that make you? A bitter, envious girl who can't stand to see someone else succeed. Good luck with your sugar daddies, Bella. Maybe one of them will finally help you gain some sense." Bella couldn't take it anymore. She spun around and stormed off, her face burning with shame. Her friends hesitated, some sneaking away, wanting to avoid being linked to her. As Bella vanished, students clapped and cheered. Finally, someone put her in her place, one of them said. "That was legendary, Victoria," another added. Victoria simply picked up her book, gave them a small nod, and walked away with her head high. Bella had been desperate to make Dennis notice her. She tried everything, wearing her tightest outfits, strutting past him with exaggerated confidence, and even pretending to need his academic help. But Dennis remained uninterested. One day, she cornered him near the school cafeteria. "Dennis," Bella purred with a forced, sweet smile, flipping her hair. "I don't understand why you waste time on that face-covering girl. You and I would be the hottest couple in school. Can't you see that?" Dennis sighed, visibly annoyed. "Bella, can you stop embarrassing yourself? I don't like you and I never will. You're always chasing boys, stirring up drama and acting superior. It's pathetic." The words hit Bella like a slap. She stood frozen, struggling to process the insult. Students nearby, who overheard everything, started whispering. For once, Bella had no comeback. Humiliated, she turned and stormed off, her face burning. That evening, Dennis finally decided to tell Victoria how he felt. He found her sitting beneath a tree, her favorite spot on campus. "Victoria," he spoke softly, sitting beside her. She turned to him, confused. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong," Dennis replied. "I just need to tell you something. I've been thinking about it for a while now." Victoria raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" "I love you," Dennis said, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "I don't care about your face cover, or what people say about you. You're kind, intelligent, and unlike anyone I've ever known. I don't need to see your face to know how special you are." Victoria's heart pounded. "Dennis, you say that now, but what if I'm ugly? What if what's under this cover is something you can't accept?" "I don't care," Dennis said firmly. "You're Victoria to me, no matter what." He invited her to his place that weekend to spend time together. Victoria hesitated but eventually agreed. When she arrived at Dennis's apartment, they talked for hours, laughing, sharing stories, and growing even closer. As the night progressed, Dennis leaned in and kissed her softly. For the first time, Victoria felt truly cherished. She let herself relax. But in that moment, Dennis accidentally brushed her face cover, causing it to slip off. Victoria gasped and pulled away, covering her face with trembling hands. "Not again!" she cried, tears streaming down her face. "I can't let this happen again. You're going to die, Dennis." But Dennis didn't move. He didn't flinch. He simply gazed at her, his eyes filled with warmth. "Victoria, nothing's happening to me. I'm fine." Victoria slowly lowered her hands, her tears still falling. She stared at Dennis in disbelief. "But Everyone who sees my face... Not me, Dennis interrupted with a smile. I told you I love you. Maybe that's why the curse doesn't affect me. Victoria couldn't believe it. Overcome with emotion, she hugged Dennis tightly, still crying, but this time they were tears of joy. That night, when she got home, she told her mother everything. Mom, she whispered, her voice trembling. Dennis saw my face, and nothing happened to him. He's alive. He loves me. And I think the curse is broken. Her mother's eyes filled with tears of happiness. She pulled Victoria into a tight embrace. My darling, I have waited for this day. You found someone who truly loves you, and now you are free from the curse. God has answered our prayers. The next morning, Victoria went to school with newfound confidence. For the first time in her life, she decided to walk in without her face covered. As she stepped onto the school grounds, heads turned. Is that Victoria? Someone whispered. She's gorgeous, another student murmured, staring in shock. Every student around was equally stunned. Bella, who had just stepped out of the cafeteria, stopped in her tracks the moment she saw Victoria. Her eyes widened and her mouth fell. Open. This is what you've been hiding? Bella stammered, disbelief dripping from her voice. Victoria smiled gently. Yes, this is me. Shocked? Maybe next time you'll think twice before making assumptions about someone you barely know. The students erupted into applause and cheers for Victoria. For the first time, she felt truly liberated, free from the curse, free from judgment, and finally free to embrace her true self. I hope you found this story enjoyable. If you did, be sure to hit the like button, share your thoughts on the lesson from this tale, and remember to subscribe to the channel for more captivating stories like this. Thank you.